compliance, then you may have to go to a different type of enforcement.
Okay, I'm clear on that now, thank you.
If that's the, is there any other discussion?
No, that was a good question though.
And plus, I remember discussing the policy ordinance for another one, but I couldn't remember it for this one.
Yeah, we had two policies, I think, on the table.
Yeah, I was remembering the other, what were you gonna say?
I did send it to Infomark and they looked over and they didn't have any questions or concerns, so.
Okay, great.
Well, I have one question. So with the backflow, you mentioned swimming pools, so I assume the water's going into a residential building, residential home. Does every property need a backflow preventer on it, or just?
To some degree, yes. But most properties probably already have one. You would have to have something in addition to that, depending on the high hazards. The swimming pool, the lawn irrigation, I think a boiler is one of them.
Right. So
Most
how
of our
would,
existing meters.
yeah, but how would the
have it
average,
built in.
I'll speak for myself, how would I know if I have it? Because I have a feeling I don't have a backflow
Your
preventer.
meter does.
My meter would,
Your meter
Okay.
is brand new.
that's fine.
But so you wouldn't need one for a hose or something? Cause the other place told me, it's like, no, you can't, you've gotta have a backflow thing, and it was just a hose. Because it could go back into the reservoir, cause that was a big tank.
Right, it's,
So I don't even know where, I think it would be awesome if we sold them here. Cause then people could
but
just
no,
go
to
buy 'em.
answer your question, there is something that you can put on the spigot itself to prevent the backflow.
Depending on how many spigots you have.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But don't think you can sell them here. Do you want me to come up with a motion?
I would
Okay.
be delighted.
Cause we'll just keep on chatting about this. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the policy as written with its penalties, enforced, and bring it before council for vote. Okay.
Oh, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
She second?
We have a second motion made and seconded. All those approve?
Bishop,
Yes.
Black,
Yes?
Easley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. This goes to council for the next meeting. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right. D, review, discussion, and recommendations to council on an engine braking ordinance, and it is here.
You have one that says draft, and then the other one that does not have draft, so I'll let Tim speak to the two copies.
So you should have a clean version of it.
Yes, we do.
And the code, the ordinance section would dovetail into your existing ordinances with the 10.08.130. And this is the ordinance language. Because it's not a budget or a zoning ordinance, you don't have to hold a public hearing. Counties do, towns don't. If you wanted to hold a public hearing, you certainly may. It's entirely up to you all. Or you could recommend approval as it is written. But before you start enforcing it, and I'm glad the chief's in here, before you start enforcing it, you want to ensure that the proper signage is up outside of town, leading into town, as well as within the town, whatever VDOT can do to assist us with that. I don't know how the costs run, if you have to pay for signs, who pays for it, or how they're, but the town and the VDOT would need to work together to place signs up, because you can't enforce it if a trucker or other person using this exhaust system, brake system, doesn't know that they're not allowed to use it. And then they can always use it if it's an emergency situation where they need to use it. And then we, enforcement would be typical law enforcement infraction related, as opposed fining a violator.
Before we take this to the town council, do we need to find out from VDOT what the cost sharing would be on signage responsibility?
I mean, that, it would be nice to know, I think. The question is whether you want, I mean, the cost is gonna be whatever the signs cost and the placement and the installation of the signs, which, as we all know, they have specific signs and standards and all of that. It could be expensive for all, I don't know.
Were we charged for the no turn on red sign?
No. I didn't know the answer to that.
But the other ones,
I
we
know.
don't have to pay.
Yeah,
So the jailbreaking.
I suppose you could have a recommendation come out of the ordinance committee today recommending adoption of the ordinance. And then subject to further information, perhaps Sarah can get for the council she can share that on March the 9th and say, we checked and we believe based on 16 signs or however many there might be, that's gonna cost the town X amount of money and the VDOT will pay for it if there's a cost sharing basis, but sure would be nice to know before you adopt. Certainly you want the signs up and they must be up before we enforce.
Yes. Has to be informed.
VDOT will tell us what size the signs have to be.
And their
it's
location.
everything, yeah.
Because it has to be in the
Because
entrances.
I
and-
had, ordered a children at play sign for the park, and it's gotta be a certain size, a certain way, they gotta come out and tell you exactly where to place it, everything.
Did they tell you a cost for that one?
We gotta order it,
Could we,
that's all I know.
Do you know how much it is?
let me suggest that we go ahead and, send the ordinance, adopt the ordinance with the proviso that, Sarah would.
So you can move to recommended adoption
Subject to certain
Cost
conditions
share.
that, cost sharing. and-
yes, I mean, like
Can
every,
we put this on the budget too?
in the state and the federal government, I think they use economic impact studies, and they'll say, this ordinance, you can enact it, but it's gonna cost you X amount of money. So what you're asking for is wise, which is an economic impact of, we're gonna put this new ordinance in, it's more than just enforcing it against violators. It's all the stuff, the cost that's on the front end. So that would be a good wise thing to do for
I
sure.
was reminded a few mornings ago, about 5 o'clock in the morning, of the importance of, at least to me, of
I
adopting.
can't believe it's taken us this many years to do it.
May I have a recommendation?
I will try, Tim, jump right in here, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I recommend the adoption of this ordinance for the use of exhaust brakes with the proviso that we study the economic impact
That you
before
understand.
implementing it,
Understand the cost.
okay?
Cost.
Understand the cost before full implementation. Or something like that.
Sounds good.
Second.
Motion by Bishop, seconded by Easley.
Could we call for a vote?
Yes, sir. Bishop,
Yes.
Black,
Yes?
Easley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow, that's exciting.
We move on to C, which is a review, discussion, and recommendations to council on a town billboard ordinance. And I have, you all have in front of you a message from our attorney regarding it. And I believe it's simply a saying that we already, it's not necessary. The things are in place.
So billboards come under zoning, and under our current zoning ordinance, billboards are not permitted. Signs are permitted in various ways and shapes, but billboards are not. And because we have an inclusive zoning ordinance, we would have to, so if we don't want to permit billboards, nothing has to be done. If we don't want billboards, nothing need be done because they're not permitted. If we want billboards, then a zoning ordinance change would be required to permit them.
So we simply can stand as we are.
So whatever the pleasure of the committee is, yes, because we would have to affirmatively change our ordinance to permit them in certain districts, or in certain ways, or in certain sizes. We would have to expressly spell it all out to permit them. But if we don't want billboards as a policy, matter of policy, then nothing needs to be done. You can just simply pass on this as far as, there's no ordinance or.
I decline to pass.
Yeah, that's great.
There's nothing.
No action.
Thank you. Moving on to new business.